Hello, TopFanRivalry followers, and it's time. It's time for college. That's right. It's time for college episode 3, season 1. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. I'm ready to talk. We got a tight agenda tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We got some games that are starting up really, really quickly here, so it's not. We're not going to give you a lot more hypotheticals or situations. We're going to start reporting on some business here pretty quick. So lead us off. We're going to talk JUCO tonight. Let's start with JUCO.
Yeah, we talked a little bit last time about Central Arizona, one of the better JUCO programs in the country.
Mhm.
And the rankings, I think, for JUCO just got released. I forget who the source was, but Central Arizona was top five, having a good start to their season. What caught my eye was Weatherford at Texas. They're sitting at 5-1 right now. Already played 6 games through earlier this week, and they made all kinds of headlines earlier this week because they beat one of their opponents 30-0. Um, Gracefully, they stopped that game after 5 innings. But some good players in that team, and I don't know if anyone's. I had to educate myself as well, but Weatherford is just west of Dallas, and got a really good tradition of baseball there. A lot of good players come through there. So, um, and then the other one I wanted to highlight was Glendale here in Phoenix.
Mhm.
Got some friends playing on that team, and another good program here locally. A lot of good players come through there. I think Phoenix gets overlooked sometimes because of ASU, U of A, and all the spring training. But there's a real baseball, even going out to Eastern Arizona, Yavapai, Cochise, etc. So, but I want to give a shout out to Glendale and to Weatherford and some of the guys there. I know one of my son's favorite teammates, Jerson Martin, is on that Weatherford team. Just a fantastic guy, a fantastic catcher. Really rooting for him.
Yeah. Yeah, JUCO, it's funny because most people they may not understand the value of a junior college, right? And if a kid doesn't get a scholarship or get the right deal that they're looking for, saving your money and going to JC, to a JUCO, and honing your craft even a little bit better, getting used to playing against college pitchers. Because again, even the best of the best, even your all league first team people, some of them are at JUCOs, and the competition's a lot better. So getting used to it, it's not a bad thing. It's really not.
Well, you know what? Bottom line is if you're playing big where you're at, and it's really really hard for a lot of the players in high school to realize that I might not get to play if I go to a D1. I might get a roster spot in Jersey, but I might not play. Or maybe you're not getting any interest, and you need to consider your options because you want to play. And kids look down their nose at some of these programs, and this is really good baseball. These guys can play. There's guys in these programs throwing in the upper 80s, throwing in the 90s, with some nasty breaking stuff, and it's no joke. So definitely a good option, and definitely not a reason to look down your nose at any of them. And it's a good team, or do you want to play on a different team?
Yeah.
I think you
And
want to
again,
play.
it's about if you're a pitcher, it's about getting innings. If you're a position player, it's about getting reps and getting at bats. There's nothing that doesn't say that you can't play 1 year JUCO and then go to a D1 school and perform there when they see that I mean, if you hit 450 with 15 bombs and 55 RBIs, well, guess what? At a highly ranked JUCO, guess what? D1s are going to become calling, right?
No doubt.
And it's just like anything, it's about
No
timing,
doubt.
right?
In college, I mean,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
the way transfers work in college, those top end coaches are going to go shopping right after their seasons are over to try to fill out the roster next season. So basically, you just hit the portal or you hit the transfer guys or the JUCO guys coming out basically with your shopping list. I need a left-handed reliever. I need a right fielder, I need a first baseman, whatever they need, and you just go shopping.
Mhm.
And these high school guys, so it's a little less risk for the college coach to go after them.
Yeah, and a lot of these too, at least I know in Southern California, there's so many JUCOs. Like for example, there's just in Orange County, California, there's a number of them, but you have Orange Coast College that happens to be rather good, and you get players out of Orange Coast College, you get players out of OCC, and they're going to get looked at by teams like Pepperdine and Loyola and SC and UCLA because they're right here. They don't, I mean, they can live on campus, but heck, if you live in Huntington Beach, California, and you're going to OCC in Costa Mesa, California, to drive up to SC or UCLA or Loyola, it's a 45-minute drive. It's not even a big deal. You can live at home, save money, so on and so forth. So yeah, don't look down on JUCO. JUCO's got its place, that's for sure. That's for sure. Um,
I'll tell you, just looking on the NGCA website, I mean, there's I'm just glancing here. There's 4 or 5 Florida teams, a California team. Middle Iowa is ranked 10th.
mhm.
Um, there's these these colleges are all over the place too. So there's good spots no matter where you're at in the country.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. And yeah, baseball's baseball. You play it right, it doesn't matter where you live, you can make some good things happen. So, um, I'm going to transition us because I know that you have some information on pitchers, but before we get to that, let's talk because some of these pitchers that are, you know, what I'm going to call college stars, so to speak, are out of some of the D1 programs. Um, we talked about this a little bit, but Dave, I looked up the top 25 winningest colleges, winningest baseball colleges. Can you guess how many of them are in the D1 top 15 currently?
If you're going back to the beginning of time, then probably less than half.
Yeah,
If
three,
you're going the last 10 years, then it's going to be all of them.
three.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is 11th all time with 2,749 wins. Clemson is number 8 all time with 2,891 wins. And North Carolina is number 9 with 2,889 wins. Obviously, those numbers, like North Carolina's had a baseball program for 131 years or 131 seasons. So that's, we're going back
Sure.
beginning of time. But interestingly enough, some of the teams that you see on here, I was surprised that number 20 is Fresno State, the Bulldogs, right? 2,641 wins. This may surprise you, but Oklahoma State is number 14 all time. It shouldn't surprise you that Michigan is number 3, Texas is number 2. Um, but some of the Louisiana states. But again, let's go back to the 80s, and there were some pretty good players at Louisiana State that made, made some hay in the MLB as well. So, but South Carolina, Arizona State, USC, University of Cal, a lot of good teams, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of good schools here.
Some of those teams are legendary. Either College World Series teams or conference tournament teams. And if you look back in history at the MLB players that came off of those teams and the careers they had, it's a little bit incredible. Arizona State, back in the day, had some just ridiculous teams. U of A as well. I mean,
Hmm.
ridiculous teams that really went deep in the tournament, and a couple of them won it. So,
Yeah. Well, here's what's funny. In the top 5, the number 5 team all time is Florida State with 2,936 wins. Now there's significance to that because that's over 73 seasons. The teams above them, Fordham, Texas, Michigan, and Stanford, all have had at least 124 seasons, almost double the amount of seasons that
yeah,
Florida State has.
yeah,
So that says something, right? And in fact, I'm looking at this list. Florida State has the lowest number of seasons, and they're fifth all time. So that should tell you something about their baseball team. They've had some decent teams.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Yeah.
um, last week we covered D1 rankings, but talk to me about some pitchers. Talk to me about some of those that we might end up highlighting throughout the season.
Yeah, so I mean, my love in the game is pitching and catching. I mean, everybody wants to hit dingers, but the chess game between the hitter and the pitcher is my favorite piece. And you look at the top rankings. I mean, it starts with Wake Forest. It's the consensus number one team in the country, and I'm sure they've got some really good position players. But I'll tell you what, when you've got your number, this is according to D1Baseball.com, you've got the number one, number eight, and number nine starting pitchers in the country on your staff Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't care what order you put them in, you deserve to be ranked really high. I mean, Josh Hartle, last season, so 11-2, 281 ERA, 140 strikeouts, 102 innings. 140 strikeouts in 102 innings. Just think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, you got Michael Massey, 259 ERA, 76 strikeouts in 41 innings.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Burns, 114 strikeouts in 86 innings. Now he's a transfer from Tennessee, but hell of a player, you know, back 100, and it won't be a fun at bat when he puts one in on your hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Wake Forest is really the one to watch. If you're a fan of pitching, that's where you go. The SEC, I mean, in this ranking, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, out of the top 20, you've got almost half of the top starting pitchers in the SEC.
Yeah.
Really, really good place to go and watch the starting pitching.
Yeah. One, and you and I both have a passion for pitching, right? I mean, I did it. Derek, you know, your son is doing it right now. But you have but you're right. The pitching is really what makes the game. I know the home runs are big and sexy, and I remember the 90s commercial, chicks dig the long ball and everything, but you want to watch some good baseball? Show me a 2-1 game where there's, 15 strikeouts between both teams. That's some good baseball because you're analyzing it. You're playing the game right. Don't show me 15 home runs.
Well, and think about it too, like the situations in the game. Like we had this discussion the other day. What's the hardest role as a pitcher? Is it starting to get your team off on a good foot on a Friday night? Or is it being the closer to have to come in and lock down the win? Or, in my opinion, is it the shutdown guy that's got to come in with second and third and no outs and a one-run game? I think that's the toughest role, but they're all tough. But, you know, that's to me, those cat and mouse games, that chess game is the most fun ever. You know, what are they going to do? They're going to walk this guy and put him on first, set up the force. You know, are you going to come right after these guys? Is it a lefty righty matchup? You know, whatever's going on. So that's fun to watch, and you have to be a little bit a student of the game to really appreciate it.
That's true. And honestly, Dave, you and I both know this. Most of the casual fans, and most casual fans aren't, well, I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of parents out there that are just fans because their kid is still playing or something like that. Most casual fans don't understand that baseball isn't about the runs, it's about the momentum. And what is the biggest thing? So just for fun, right? Vanderbilt has a rivalry with Tennessee, right? So Tennessee goes into Vandy, scores 3 runs in the first inning. Okay, top of the first. That's a good thing, right? But if Tennessee turns around and gives up one of them back and doesn't have a shutdown inning, you advantage Vandy, right? Because you had them kind of backed in the corner, almost a standing 8 count, and then you let him right back into the fight. I most You and I understand what I'm saying here, but the casual fan may not understand how important the momentum and shutdown innings and things like that are. So, I mean,
No
that's
doubt. You don't. It's almost like you know, hockey where you have a power play and you score, and then you get even strength again and you give the goal right back.
yeah,
You know, basketball, you know, you have a couple of good possessions, you get a couple of threes, and then you foul a guy and, you know, you give the point right back. I mean, it's all momentum there.
yeah,
But yeah, the biggest one you score on them. I want to shout out our guy at Tennessee, Drew Beam, number 6 on this list. Last year was 9-4, 88 strikeouts in 84 innings. QB1 there. He played high school football as a quarterback. So, but he'll be somebody they really rely on. That's a pitching staff that's going to have a new look because of Chase Burns' transfer and Chase Dollander being drafted by the Rockies. So they lost 2 of their 3 weekend guys. LSU's got a couple of guys here on this list, Thatcher Hurd and Luke Holman in the top 20 dynamite pitchers. TCU, Texas Christian, is always there and always tough. They recruit well, great team, good coaching. Cole Klecker, Arizona product from Hamilton High School, went 10-4 as a freshman. He just pounds the zone. So watch him, and Peyton Toll at TCU is fun to watch as well. Went 9-3 last year. So there's a few names to work with.
yeah.
And if you really see the whole list and pick the ones you want to watch.
Yeah, and so TopFanRivalry.com is going to post up. We're going to post up different things about different shows, but one of the things that we'll do is we'll post up some stuff about the players that we're talking about and the fans that are watching these guys. So yeah, it's though they're not household names yet, they will be at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then it's going to be a lot of fun to watch pure baseball, right?
Yep.
It's fun to watch a guy who hits a ground ball to first base, who tries to beat the first baseman to the bag, right? Versus just kind of saying, "Oh, okay, I'll just walk on over there and just head on over to the dugout." So,
yeah.
Is there?
Everybody likes to see a little emotion out of their players, and there's nothing better than a guy hits a home run. There's a couple of schools of thought, but you see the bat flip and you see the emotion, and it's college baseball. These are young athletes, but as far as the pitchers is concerned, I just a good walk around the mound, just acknowledging that you just did your job, dude.
Yeah, yeah, and there's both Dave and I have played competitive sports growing up and team sports, and there's nothing better than having a team sport and learning life skills on how to work with people through a team, right? And it's more than just some of these guys, like we just said, may never play it professionally, but they're playing it at a high level right now, and they're learning how to work as a team. Will that make them better employees or employers in the future? Will that make them better, people in society? Probably. So
Yeah, and learning how to deal with adversity too, and learning how to deal with you know being on a stage with everybody looking at you and waiting to see how you're going to perform, and probably yelling some things that are inappropriate at you, and how do you deal with that?
yes, it's not all fun and roses. Eventually you'll play in the Bronx, and they don't always say nice job to the opposing players.
I think you mentioned this. I mean, how many people go to your office and stand around your desk until you finish your spreadsheet and then either yell at you for doing it bad or cheer you for doing it good? It doesn't happen.
Exactly. Exactly. You and I have chosen careers, or careers have chosen us, where we don't have to worry about that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But
Well,
you can't underestimate being on the stage for these guys. They they're good for them. And obviously, wish them all well until they play against Tennessee. Then we have to have a little chat.
Then we have to have a little something, something, right?
Yeah.
So, well, Dave, I've got some ideas that we'll talk about offline after this about next week's show, but I love the fact that we can find and talk about people that, again, aren't household names, right? As we're filming this today, Gary Sanchez, for example, signed a deal with the Brewer. Like these are names that people hear, but we're talking about kids. Some of them aren't even 18 yet. We're talking about kids, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
this is episode 3, everybody. So remember, there's 2 more, and then it's into the locker room they go. So Dave, I've got a great idea of our next a few breakdowns, but um, what else can we tell them except for Juco's out there and highlight some pitchers and talk about the better teams of all time. I still can't believe that Fordham has over 4,600 wins, Dave. 4,627 wins.
Playing
Can
since
you believe
Columbus
that?
landed.
That's over 160 seasons though, so that's a little bit of time. But
Yeah.
still
No, the only thing I would close with is you know what, if you know a player in high school, there's a place for you to play if you want it bad enough. It doesn't have to be D1, it doesn't have to be the SEC. If you're playing baseball and you're out of high school and you're doing a good thing, that is a huge achievement. So just go do it. Go do it somewhere you can play and love the game and see where it takes you.
yeah, agreed. Agreed. Well, in closing for me, I get excited about this show because this is something different. Obviously, Top Fan Rivalry talks to all fans. We focus on the MLB, but it's a lot of fun talking about the ones that are still really trying to make it and trying to make it happen. We're not talking about a 14-year, $300 million contract. We're talking about kids that just they want to go out and do the very best they can, and then they want to go hang out with their buddies and their girlfriends and go to McDonald's. And some of them
Yeah,
right now
I
may
would.
look. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I'd encourage everybody out there to figure out how you can either get to some college games later this month or get them on your streaming service so you can check some of this stuff out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dave's going to be at Globe Life for a tournament
In
next
Arlington.
weekend, and I
Yeah.
believe we're about 97% sure that both he and I will be together um, at the Michigan at UCLA game on May 1st. But we'll
March
know
1st.
more. Yeah, we'll know more about that next week. We'll announce that next week when we do our show next week. So
Sounds good.
just appreciate everybody that listens to us, and as usual, follow us on socials. Follow Dave on his socials. Follow Top Fan Rivalry on ours, and we'll have more to come as the season gets geared up and as we talk more. So, Dave, let's do it again next week.
Thanks
All
for having
right,
me.
you bet.